Welcome back. First, I want to say thank you to everyone who showed interest and support in this project, as well as in the videos. Please comment freely. Yes, I've got it set so that all comments are reviewed, but this is just to avoid spam, avoid things that are off topic, and avoid things that would be inappropriate. I review any comments that are posted quite often, so please, if there's something that will help not only myself, but also be useful to others who may be viewing these videos, please comment so that I can get them posted as quickly as possible. Now, with that said, what is going to be the purpose of this video today? Well, I want to do three things. One, I want to show you the revised configuration of the rig. It's a little different from how we left off with the end of the build videos. Second, I want to introduce some upcoming projects. They're extensions of the video rig and maybe a few other things, but those may be of interest to you. And three, I want to discuss briefly some short-term or near-term videos that I'll be releasing hopefully on a more regular schedule. First, let's get to the new configuration of the camera rig. This is the revised configuration. As you can see, mostly it's the same, except for one kind of major change as contrasted from the way the rig was shown at the end of the build video. The biggest difference, as you can see, the video assist is now on top instead of behind the camera body. I'll show you how this change was made. It's pretty simple. Let's flip it to the side. And originally, of course, I had these arms attached to the cold shoes on the top. I removed this cold shoe adapter. The arm was threaded straight into this union along with the cold shoe foot. When I unthreaded that, I added a rubber washer here for vibration and shock absorption so that things wouldn't unthread automatically or completely unthread or loosen by being metal on metal on metal. So that was placed here, and this was threaded directly into the back of the SmallRig cage. The arm was run sort of somewhat parallel up, and then if you'll notice, the offsets work pretty well so that this can now pass up the outside of the SmallRig cage and thread directly into the bottom of the cage for the video assist. Tighten them up, it's stable, it's secure, it's got a little bit of give just for sort of vibration, but it's very secure, and this is the configuration that I used to shoot the test video. With the monitor over top, it's a much more balanced rig. It's still, depending on how you're holding it, it's a little bit back heavy, but that's okay. In any position, whether you're kind of gripping like this or a little more with thumbs over the top, it's very balanced, very easy to control. You know, all your aspects, your tilt, pan, rotation, or in aviation terms, pitch, roll, yaw. So this worked really, really well. I shot with it for a whole day and didn't experience any real fatigue, any tiredness. Of course, at times when I tried what I shouldn't have done, which is extend it out from the body, it's always going to get a little bit heavy. And that's another point. By moving the monitor over top, the depth of the whole rig overall is greatly reduced. Notice from the front of the lens to the back of the whole rig, which now the furthest point back is the shade that I added to the monitor, it's very shallow. So using it properly with two hands on it, using the handles, you can now hold this rig much closer to your body, which is the best way to stabilize your handheld video. 2 points of contact on the camera and holding it as closely to your body as possible. You notice too that there's now a shade. This is also a SmallRig part, but this does not come with hardware. This is just a heads up. It's just the shade by itself when you order this part. So instead of ordering a particular hardware kit, I just went to the hardware store and I picked up these heat-treated cap screws. They're 1/4 20 thread. They've got about a 1/2 inch of threaded shank on them, so I added these little rubber washers just to back them out a bit, give them a little bit of depth. And because they're knurled, they act like thumb screws. So I just hand threaded these in till they were snug, and it holds this quite nicely. I'm going to give you just a couple of quick views. So you saw that here's the top again. Not much really to see there. Here's the back view. Here's the side, where you can see that still have access to all the ports, HDMI, the I/O port, which we'll talk about a little bit later, SD card and mic, and then of course here is back to the front view. So that is the new configuration of the rig. So while we're back here on the front view, I want to bring up a couple of things regarding the handles. First of all, the cold shoe and then the foot that's on the handles. Now with the cold shoes and feet, when you attach them, even when you tighten them down, there tends to still be a little bit of play. For most things like a flash or something else, it's not a big deal. But if it's your handles, if it's how you're holding the rig, then you want it to be really solid. So a lot of what I've been doing since the last video, since the build video and other things, has been experimenting with ways to refine the tolerances between the foot and the shoe. And that's going to be the topic of one of my upcoming videos. The other thing that in reading forums and reviews for these products is that some people have expressed concern over the handle itself loosening from the foot by means of the screw that threads in from the back. There's actually a really easy fix for this. Even though I haven't experienced the issue myself, I want to show that possible fix to everyone so that hopefully that can be useful to them. What about other things with regard to the project? Well, one thing I want to do and demonstrate is to show you how you can build your own remote for the micro cinema camera. We've seen, and it's now famous, the I/O port, the ability to use PWM control, link control, and even S-bus control to adjust the majority of the functions inside the camera. So I want to show you how you can start from scratch, start experimenting with that safely to even build your own controller. Now it's true, there are several people who are working on controller projects. There's the one little remote that's now had several revisions to it and looks to be really maturing. There is an already somewhat fully mature project called the CGPro Remote. But all of these tend to be all-in-one boxes. And for this rig, since this is a two-hand handheld rig, the idea is that I want to always have my hands on the handles. So I want to devise a split remote that gives me controls on both handles. Something where maybe I have some trigger controls on the front to control certain functions, and then thumb controls on the back, whether it's rockers, whether it is selector buttons, something like this, so that I never have to take my hand off in order to make adjustments or change the controls or change settings. Everything can be done while I have two hands on the rig. Now, what about other future videos for this channel? Well, a couple of things. One, I'm going to do in the very near term, I'm going to break this whole thing down to show how quickly it can come apart, or at least how easily it can come apart and be reconfigured. The other thing is I intend to take each component that I used in this build and to offer a brief but hopefully meaningful review of each component, even addressing the issues that I've experienced and that others have reported along with their fixes. So the handles, the cage itself, even the micro cinema camera and the video assist itself. I want to go into those and give you a review on what I've experienced, the good, the bad, the ugly, and hopefully this will be meaningful to you. So again, please comment freely on all of these videos. If you have any questions, any suggestions, whatever it may be, some criticism, that would be great too. If you find these videos to be informative or interesting or oddly entertaining, then feel free to like. If you think someone else would benefit from these videos, then please share them. And if you want to stay current as I begin to release more and more content, hopefully on a more regular basis, then please subscribe. And again, thank you to everyone for watching.